Get ready for 2 hours of hard-hitting football talk, straight from their jocks about the jocks. It's Football on the Know with Jim and Joe.
What they say, it's not the X's and the O's, it's the Jimmies and the Joes.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Football on the Know. I am Jim McPhee, and right there in the studio is Mr. Joe DeCapita.
What's going on, know-it-alls? Welcome back once again. Yep, you know what it is. It's that time to talk more football this week. Listen, Jim, I don't know what's going on in the world of the NFL, but all I know is that there's bodies hitting the floor left and right every single week. I don't know what to make out of it, and it's actually quite confusing as we go down the stretch of this long season. For a lot of these teams, we're still trying to figure them out. But man, there has been a lot that has happened up to this point. We're going to dive right into all that. And before we do, I got to ask you guys out there, could you do us a huge favor? Head over to our channel. Make sure you hit the subscribe button while you're there. Hit the thumbs up. Doesn't hurt a bit. Absolutely free. And make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend. That's right. Share it to everybody you know. Jim, let's get into
know-it-alls.
Yeah, that's right, Joe. Because the key to not having a bunch of injuries during the season is to not play any of your players in the preseason, right? So you don't have padded practices either. That'll keep everybody safe, and you won't have any injuries at all, right?
Right.
That was what they told us, right?
Yeah.
So
like that.
Yeah, they're all piling up all over. And again, after a few weeks into it now, we still don't know what the hell is going on. We don't know what teams are what anymore. Upsets galore all over the place. But we're going to dive into some crazy stories here. Let's get right into the most recent and Monday Night Football. I happen to be at the bunker in Latham here watching the game, the Miami Dolphins and the Jets. And wow, it went back and forth, and what a snooze fest, basically, Joe. But within that game, Tyreek Hill gets injured, and it's a gruesome looking thing, a dislocated knee. Tore a bunch of ligaments in his knee and everything. But the key thing that stood out after it all, after the players gather around him, saying their prayers, get on a knee, get him onto the cart. As he's getting driven off on the cart, he's like smiling, like throwing the peace signs, cheering, saying this and this,
waving,
and it's all over the internet. It's crazy. Tyreek Hill doing Tyreek Hill things.
Yeah, and it's the first time I've ever seen anything like it, especially for like an injured player, knowing fair well that it's most likely season ending. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he just knew. It's like, and it was almost like a celebration while he was on the cart. The whole way as the cart's driving its way to the tunnel, he's smiling, waving, like, thank you, Lord. Like, super excited. I've never seen anything like that. And then, because he knew, like, this is all stemming way back before the season even started. The rumors about, will Tyreek Hill, does he want out of Miami? Are the Dolphins even thinking about trading him? This, that, and the other thing. And then for him to be so elated that he got injured and is most likely done, he's happy. He's going to get out of Miami. Apparently that's something that he really did want. And now going into his last year under contract, like, he's going to be a free man. He's going to go into free agency, and the Dolphins aren't going to tag him. If everybody, all the Dolphins fans that still like him, the Dolphins fans out there that still want him to stay, like, no, that's not going to happen. I feel like the organization is ready to move on from Tyreek Hill and Hill alike. So he's going to test free agency. Curious to see what team he goes to. But man, oh man, what an odd turn of events. Definitely in Miami.
Right. It was very odd. And like you said, you don't see anything like this ever. Like when anybody gets on the cart, again, it's a solemn thing. your teammates are there with you. They're like, oh man, get better, man. We're here with you, and things. And then the reaction afterwards, was something I've never seen before. It was
Can't
almost
make it
like
up.
it was almost like, because again, what's funny is teammates say they love him. I mean, in the locker room, they love this guy and
Yep.
they're friends with him, stuff like that. But how
Yep.
do you treat friends or even teammates like this when you're just kind of like, oh, thanks, man, I appreciate you. Then he's like, right after he goes to the crowd, and again, it's like, yeah, so thank God I'm out of here. It's almost like if you want to compare something, it's almost like saying like your girlfriend comes to you and she's like, well, I've been under a lot of stress lately. I think maybe we just need like a break, take a little time to get some space right now. And I just need the time to think about things and where we're going. Is that okay? You're like, oh yeah, sure. No problem. I'll give you your space. We'll think about this. Okay. And then we'll talk about this after. And she's like, all right, yeah, thank you for understanding this. And you're like, okay. And then she walks out the door, and then all of a sudden you look out the window, and then all of a sudden she got her arm around another dude. She's like, come on, let's go, honey. Let's get out of here. You're like, what the, what I mean? It's like, it kind of seemed like it to me, because you're telling these guys, hey man, thanks. You're my guys or whatever, this and this, but see you later. I'm out. You know what I mean? I can't wait to be out of here. So it's two-faced. It's what Tyreek Hill is. I mean, you see in the media, you see, him being arrested, what he does, and beating women, getting arrested on the side of the road for that, with the police. It's typical Tyreek Hill. So I'm not exactly surprised, but the fact that you do that to your teammates and things like that, I think is ridiculous. I
don't
don't
know.
buy the
I mean,
like, if it's such a bad atmosphere. I mean, it's not like he wasn't playing well. When he went to Miami, his stats pretty much jump started more.
mhm,
First two
yes.
1,700 yards apiece.
Mhm.
Last not so much, but you had Tua injured with the concussion and everything half
Right.
the, and
Yep.
this not starting off as planned. But what's the deal? What's the friggin' problem?
No, there's no problem. I mean, I don't see this as a disrespect thing to his teammates. I don't see it. It's more disrespect to the organization. It has nothing to do with the guys that he's established relationships with and their families or anything like that, or even part of the coaching staff. Like, from all accounts, everybody that has come in contact with Tyreek Hill, minus the organization and the front office itself, has been copacetic. He's got great friendships with all those players there. Like, you saw it that night before he got driven off in a cart. The whole freaking team, the whole roster came over and said, wished him well, hope he gets healthy fast and all that. Um, so it was all there. The coaching staff, like, they all like this dude for who he is. It was just basically a rift between him and the organization. So for him, it was more like a big fu to the Miami Dolphins themselves, the front office, the owner.
Mm.
Definitely didn't want to be there anymore. And obviously, like, everyone's going to point the finger at Tua, and he definitely was a major problem for Tyreek Hill in these last two couple of seasons of his contract. It's where he's not just, going all out week to week and making big time plays, but it's in the matter of fact, the way he has to do it. He could be running 50 yards down the field, and then Tua throws a bomb to him, but now he's got to stop basically and come back for it to catch the football. That's happened a lot where he had to derail his route just to make the play, and that's what saved Tua so many times. So for the Dolphins going forward now, they're ready to move on too. It's bottom line. Like, both parties are now going to move on. They're going to go their separate ways, and they wish each other the best of luck. You know what I mean? In the best possible way. So I just think it was an odd situation in how he celebrated basically before he even got to the tunnel. Um, and it's going to be very interesting to see not what the Dolphins do. We already know that they're going to run it the way they want to run it. Probably going to draft a receiver or pick a veteran up, whatever. But Tyreek Hill now, I'm very curious to see what teams one would be really interested in him being a 32 plus year old wide receiver who's now, just like Odell Beckham, coming back from a very serious injury. He's got to do all that recovery in the offseason. If he's going to be ready to go next season, like, what teams
Mhm.
are going to be like, hey, yeah, we want you to help us out on the offense. Like, what's the number? That's going to be very interesting. Is how much is Tyreek Hill going to cost now? Being that over 30-year-old receiver, being that guy who, like Odell, now has to come back yet again from a serious injury, and now being 30 plus, it's the number isn't going to be super high at all. So I'm just curious to see how that all works out.
All right, we've got a bunch of comments in here. We're getting to you guys. Don't worry about that. Christian Dickinson's in the house. He said what happened to Tyreek Hill was just karma for him beating on his kids and wife. Then he says Tyreek might be done for his career. Short guy who relies on speed and change of direction. He might not come back the same.
Now, with the way everything is with the medical field and how these guys get top-notch treatment, I mean, there's no doubt about it. A lot of guys come back from this type. This is more of like a common injury now. No matter what he does, dislocates his knee
Mhm.
and this. They're going to go through the procedure with the best of the best doctors. He's going to get all the care in the world. He's going to recover. He's going to have trainers. He's going to have everybody around him to get him back up and running because his tool is his body. So like
Mhm.
they're going to get it right before he even entertains deals and everything. So
Mhm.
I don't worry about any one athlete nowadays, especially with the advancement in the medical field and all that. Like these guys are like in top notch shape, and usually when you are in that good a shape, you can come back from just about anything.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens next year, who goes for him. I think right off the bat again, Chiefs are a fit that goes. I mean, they're known for getting guys that used to play in the system before, bringing them back. At least they could be serviceable. I mean, look at Juju Smith-Schuster and company. They've done it multiple times. Nicole Hardman for a bit. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't be surprised if they decide to bring him if he doesn't find anywhere, and if
It's
anybody's
a
even willing to give him money.
But that's the thing
So.
is you're gonna automatically think the Kansas City Chiefs because, yeah,
Mhm.
that's familiar, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Holmes is still there, the team's
Mhm.
pretty good, like, they could add a guy, but it's gonna come down to money,
Mhm.
where the Chiefs aren't gonna pay him the most money. So,
Oh,
like,
we know that.
we all know he's all about his money, so I think he's gonna go to the highest bidder, even if it's only, like, 9 million a year or 10 million a year, whatnot. Um, you know, that's going to be the indicator of, like, where he's really gonna go because he's gonna want as much money as possible before he has to retire. I don't
Mhm.
think he's the type of person that is gonna be willingly be like, "I'm gonna make the decision and retire after this year." He's gonna be basically have to be forced out like some other athletes are when no one's calling you, when no one's looking to sign you. So, you might have to face that hard truth.
Mhm. Mhm. Absolutely. So we've also got Rise Up Dirty Birds in the house tonight.
What up,
Uh
Rise Up?
there he goes. He goes, I can't believe Atlanta actually has the second fewest passing yards allowed in the league,
Yeah,
with 125 out
yeah,
there. Yeah,
yep.
big
Good
Atlanta
defense,
Falcons
man.
fan out there.
That's the thing is the Atlanta Falcons were so underrated last year, and then when they started getting injured, everyone's like, "Oh, look, they're not that good." No, they were that good. They just needed to get healthy, and now that they've had that year of health that kicks in, all these players returning, and the guys that they've added through the draft and whatnot, like they are definitely a decent defense. Like I really think that they can do some damage. Obviously, health permitting, but so far they're a young team and they're looking pretty decent. They're looking pretty good out there.
He's all excited because they beat the Commanders, and what's
Of
funny
course.
is when I talked to him week 3 or something, or a couple weeks ago, he's like, what is this? Is this kind of like the litmus test for them? If they can do that and they can win, are they one of the top teams? And that week they happened to get the shit kicked out of them by the Carolina Panthers. Like nothing was going right
They
for
got
them, and this and
yeah,
this. I'm
they've
like,
got brought down a
and it was
notch.
it, it was funny. It's almost like I might even bet a curse because again I like Michael Penix Jr. Again, I'm like, well, I just want to see more, right? And then in this game, I actually picked them, and I was like, all right, here we go. And then they lay in a goose egg, 30-0 to the Panthers. I'm like, do I curse guys or something like that? Sometimes I feel like it. And maybe I might have cursed Michael Penix Jr. on that one when he had two picks, and one was a pick six and a fumble. Did not play his best there.
The team play their best.
But dude, they play a close game against Washington. But again, you got Mariota there because of the injured Jaden Daniels and stuff. So you get a win there. But again, with these teams this year, it's just kind of up and down. And I think that any given Sunday, any team's going to show up and win, and so we're still feeling it out. I think we still won't know towards the end of the year where those teams that make that push, who's who out of all this, because again, right now, currently Pittsburgh's in the lead of their division. Houston only has one win right now, and they did it on field goals. The Ravens are at the bottom of their division, so it's tough, to try and gauge where these teams are going.
It's tough, but it's still early. Like I'm going to be honest. Like even midway through the season, we're not going to know what these teams are, because by the end of the stretch, look at bodies are dropping left and right. Injury, like not just our backup running back or a guy that plays special teams. Like it's not insignificant players. It's starters. It's high-end starters that are getting injured and derailing basically the organization or the season for this year. Like we don't even know what the status is going to be with all these teams as we're not even halfway yet. What's going to happen like when we play 5-6 more games? What other starters are going to be missing from the lineup? And are they going to be missing for the season? Like it's happening at a very rapid rate this year. I feel like way earlier. And I know injuries happen every week, but it just seems to be like significant injuries to all these different players that are starters, quarterbacks, wide receivers, anything. It's mounting up at a very rapid rate, almost to the point where like now you got to be super concerned. We're not even at the midway point, and if you're a team that is one of these ascending teams or one of these teams that are deemed as playoff ready, like the Buffalo Bills, what happens if you get into week 16 and all of a sudden your two of your offensive linemen are now done for the rest of the year? Like what? It's going to change dynamic for every team. Like I feel like this is kind of it's starting to become a problem, and the NFL wants to expand the season, another game, and the NFL wants to travel to other countries, maybe even put a franchise in the UK. Like it's getting a little crazy right now.
Yeah, definitely. Give a shout out to Billy out there. He says Yankees win. This is a football show, Billy.
Come on.
We appreciate you commenting and being on here. We get that. They should have won the other night though, too. They should have been already
in the NFL.
Moving on.
I want to hear from you.
What's your team? What's your team out there? He's a Giants fan that I know, along with a couple other people out there. Christian, shout out to you. He says, Christian also says, what's your guys' thoughts on turf versus graft?
We've had this debate last year, actually. And this kind of always comes up every single season. Some players are for it, against it, turf, grass, it's that and the other thing. But honestly, statistics have been done. The NFL has they do studies every year about this same subject. Well, you get injured more on turf, or you get injured more on grass, or it doesn't matter. It doesn't freaking matter. At the end of the day, the statistics say that it's a pretty level playing field, whether it be turf or grass. So it's really a preference thing. It doesn't matter, if you get turf, you're guaranteed you're going to get way more. You're going to have more injured players on that team versus a team that has grass. No, injuries happen no matter what. So this whole turf grass debate, it'd be one thing if it was like a landslide one way or another statistically that could give you that data to where you're like, it's a no-brainer. But it's not. So not an exact science. It is what it is. Turf, grass, it's preference, really.
Yeah, it's close, but I think there's an honest argument for it too, with the amount of injuries that do happen even at certain stadiums, and people that complain about certain ones and what happens, and mainly even when players try to make a quick cut or whatever, and they're dug into it. That's where you see your ACL tears, your Achilles tears, things like that. And I know there was I think there was an article posted, I think, in American Journal in 2019 about the difference. That's when the debate started, with the grass and in the turf difference. And they did see that there was like a 20% increase in injuries, non-contact injuries when they played on turf. So there is a bit of an increase in the
Not,
difference between
to
grass
be honest,
and turf. And I get why they did it too, because again, you're trying to keep the field in good condition too,
right.
because again, when
But
it rains, snows, whatever,
these
it's going to
injuries
get
happen
jacked
on
up and
either
all this
side,
other
turf
stuff.
or grass, doesn't matter. Non-contact, you name it.
We
Like
get that. So
they put
we do
out,
see an increase, but is it because of
the new
something else
study,
though? Is it because of
the
the
new study that they
non-contact?
put out last year, pretty level. Like there wasn't much of a big difference one way or the other. Uh, when you talk about certain grass fields, there are certain grass fields that it's either the type of grass that they use or how it grows from the ground, something where like even in Miami uses grass, and guys
Mhm.
are still getting their feet stuck in the ground. They're still getting their ACLs blown out. They're still pulling hamstrings and everything. So like this whole debate thing, it's like, no, just get the best quality of grass. If you want grass, get the best quality of grass. Make sure you have the right, landscapers to take care of the field and all that. Like, so it's one of these kind of like never ending
Mhm.
things, but it's really like all about like, do you want to spend the money as an owner? Like that's what it comes down to. Like, if you're going to get turf, you don't want to get turf that was like astroturf, like some of the worst turf you can get out there.
Oh yeah,
Like
like the old
you're not going to like,
yeah.
oh, we're going to invest money in a new turf field. We're going to use astroturf. What? That's insane.
Yeah, like
So
concrete with like
really,
a
it
mat.
comes down to if you want a quality field, whether it be grass or turf, you got to pay for it. So this is on the owners, if anything. Like, and I know there's certain stadiums that are like that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And again, we're reading the comments too out there. Yeah, see, that's what I mean. You just don't know, because again, Bosa is always injured. He plays on grass, at least his home
He's
field.
injured in college too.
And
Like it's
yeah, 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 exactly.
some
And
guys just have
again,
a
Hill
history
just
of it.
got injured the other night, so it just is. And like I said, depends on what you're using for your data, because also now if you go from a certain timing, they're doing less padded practices and stuff like that. So again, when you're not doing all that hitting and things like that ahead before the season starts and getting your body
Mhm.
used to it and then go kind of full bore into it, I think
Right.
injuries are piling up because of that
Absolutely.
too. But so that data is inconclusive. That's why I hate like analytics. I think analytics are
I
just
mean,
stupid,
they're
because when it comes to sports and stuff, because again, there's more variables that are coming into play
there
for all
is.
that. I think your statistics don't make any
There
sense at
is. Like
all.
analytics does have its place in the NFL or even any other sports league, but actually it's an interesting tool that you can use to like kind of help you maybe kind of make your decision for you. Like if you're stuck on something, but the data's there. Like it's all
Right.
there for research
Or support a
purposes.
point if you want
It's
to make a
there
point.
to maybe help you out with the decision that you're trying to make. So it is helpful. Like I don't rule it completely out and say it's completely useless, but it you're right, Jim. Like there are a ton of variables that you can't calculate. When you're playing a
Mhm.
certain team or certain matchup that you have. So like, yeah, it's definitely a different
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, exactly. Christian also said earlier on he wants to give a shout out about Jackson Dart has arrived, baby. He's excited about that.
Yeah, and
Uh, for now, as
if
long
you
as he
wanna
doesn't
listen, if
get
you
beat up.
wanna know more about Jackson Dart, and we talked about him in our other show at, Blindside
Mhm.
Blitz, last night, so we encourage you guys to go take a look at that video at Grumblings Media.
Yeah, absolutely. Is also I wish Mara would spend the money for grass at least, just to see what happens. And
It's a lot of money to
well,
change
a
over.
lot of money, right? And it would probably go out of
Listen,
our
bottom
taxpayer
line,
money, Christian.
Mr. Mara would
Too.
change it
Yeah.
if you win the Super Bowl. That's when he'll change it. So, like, if
Right.
you could
Right.
do that,
Yeah. Change the way of the team. Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
win the Super Bowl and the player's like, "Hey, Mr. Mara, would you mind changing the grass?" "Oh, yeah, sure. We just won the Super Bowl. Why not?" Let's invest in it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's when the changes come and the investments are made.
A lot of money's made then.
Yeah, and hopefully Christian and Billy out there, Christian, Billy, I know you're Giants fans out there. Hopefully in the future, we can get Jordan Ron on with us, beat writer for the New York Giants. I ended up hanging out with him on Monday night. Went to his book signing situation. It was a lot of fun. Got to talk to him, got to hear some interesting stories about the Giants and some of the behind the scenes stuff. And hopefully we can share that with you guys too on the show, and a little bit into his book that he wrote about all their championship seasons, even the Super Bowl run that they didn't win against the Baltimore Ravens. So I'm interested to read that particular part, because again, sometimes you see teams where they kind of win by luck and get there. And then you, like, as a fan, you're like, oh, they won. I'm happy, but they don't belong here. They're just going to get the crap kicked out of them. And I just knew it. Kerry Collins going in there into the Super Bowl against that Baltimore Ravens team. Oh man, it was not even a contest, so, but yeah, exactly. Waiting to hear some good stories from that. One thing interesting that he said too, that his opinion on Russell Wilson, right, is that Russell Wilson is one of the most shady characters out there. Two-faced people out there. He tries to paint this thing like, oh, I'm this, I'm supportive, I'm this, I'm that, I'm blah, blah, blah. I'm, this super duper nice guy and this and this. But behind the scenes, it's not the same. And it kind of makes sense too if you look at the places that he's gone from. If you look at from Seattle, post winning the Super Bowl, it seemed like even his attitude kind of changed about things. First year, when he was there and took the job, not expected to be the starter, but he goes, they win the Super Bowl. Next one, he shows up in a limousine, partying champagne and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, just show up to play. It's not like you're showing up at somebody's wedding or something like that. You're going out for your bachelor party, and the fact that it really grew sour in Seattle to where they were just like, yeah, we're good with letting you go. And then also the same situation in Denver and now here in the Giants, and nobody out there supported him in the media or anything at all. Like, and none of his former players like, oh yeah, Russ, we wish he'd be back and this and blah, blah, blah. Didn't really get a whole lot of support. And even during this whole thing with him being benched for Jackson Dart, everybody's just like, okay, cool. Let's just move on. Yeah, we're fine with that. We're actually excited for a new move. And the fact that he's out there saying, oh, I'm doing this and I'm carrying Jackson Dart's helmet for him and I'm doing this and blah, blah, blah. It's just the front that he's putting on, and in his eyes, hopefully to try and get traded to somewhere else that he could get a starting job now because of these injuries at quarterback. But Christian Dickinson, he's got a few different things too out there. He said, also would love to have Jordan on. Yes, we would. I would love that too. Billy says LT, baby. Okay. Yeah. We love LT. We love LT out there too. He goes, and then he also says, I wish I knew he was in Albany. He just talked about it on his podcast this past week. Actually, he said he didn't leave with one book. He sold every copy that he went with. Yes, he did. He sold every copy out there. It was a lot of fun. It was cool again. And a lot of cool conversations that night. A lot of insight to some stuff, especially the relationship with Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen too, and everything, and ownership, and how the ownership wants you guys to, fans, to see the Giants and the media out there and everything else, as opposed to what's really going down and that's being kept in-house. Really interesting stuff. Christian Dickinson also says, wow, I didn't know that about Russell Wilson. Also, you can see right through that fake act he puts on. He's just got all the right answers all the time. Yeah, absolutely. When a guy even says, when his one press conference says, as he's getting benched, he says, yeah, I really enjoy the process of all this and what goes down in those decisions that are made by executives. It's like, what? You enjoy that process of the fact that you just even got benched? Like, I got benched. It stinks, but that process is such an amazing thing, and I really enjoy that. Like, what? That doesn't even make any sense here. So I could see that again. He just plays it all off. And then Christian also says at the end of the day, he's too short. He can't see the middle of the field. His one read and bail on the play, and I'm glad we benched him. Yeah, because you did see a difference. You saw in that game too with Jackson Dart the difference, how the offense was run. I don't think Russell Wilson would have been able to do some of those RPOs and that little shovel pass to Theo Johnson for the touchdown. I mean, that's what got the touchdown right there. A trick play like that to get it in there, that's what you needed. And if he's not in there, I mean, what
Oh,
are you doing? You're just
you're
holding this
doing a
whole
different
team
play
back.
because he
So,
doesn't fit that.
and you saw the defense. The defense stepped up through it too, right, Joe?
You're doing a different play because he doesn't fit that offense that they were calling.
Hmm.
Like, they had this offense
Hmm.
ready and waiting for the time. Maybe it was next year. That's kind of what they were hoping for. They were hoping for he could just learn this year. But with the immense struggle that Russell Wilson is having right now as a quarterback, and no real spark there, like, you gotta make a change before everybody riots in the streets. Like, something's got to be done here. Uh, this is a
Hmm.
fan base that's been waiting and waiting and waiting for the Giants of old to return to their rightful place, and that is competing for the playoffs. So, not saying that the Giants will turn it around right now and all of a sudden make that big run. It's possible, but it's all going to depend on the rookie quarterback Jackson Dart, how much he can learn and develop very rapidly. So I love the kid. I think he's gonna be great for the New York Giants. He'd be great for any ball club. But now, like you mentioned, Jim, it opens up the playbook even more to other abilities that now you have at your disposal than otherwise you wouldn't have with Russell Wilson. Like, now you're gonna have that RPO threat where every time
Hmm.
Russell Wilson does an RPO, no one's threatened. They all know that he's not that fast. Like, he's got some
Yeah.
speed, but he's not that fast, especially now in his career. But now you put Jackson Dart there, and they saw him run once, they saw him run twice. I'm like, oh, damn it, we got to spy him. We got to figure this out. We can't just go for the running back anymore. So it's definitely going to open
Hmm.
things up for them, and you saw that already against the Chargers of all teams.
Right. Yeah, of all teams, right? And what's funny too, just one more little tidbit before we move on to the next segment. One thing I did find out too is the fact that, like you said, there's a plan. Well, Shane had a certain plan, but the reason why we did see plays where we sprinkled in Jackson Dart was all Dable. Dable wanted to insert Dart sooner than what the plan is. So he kept throwing it out there against the plan. So when the plan finally took place, Joe Shane wanted to group everybody together and say, hey, this was our decision to do this. This was part of the plan. And that's why Dable, when he went to the press conference, says, yeah, I made this decision to do this, to make this, to better the team. That was him, and that was him starting to deflect against of what Shane was doing and saying, hey, I'm putting my stamp on this. And I also learned that remember we questioned why they were making Mike Kafka the offensive coordinator again, Joe? Because I asked this to Jordan. I'm like, Jordan, Kafka named the coordinator, then Dable takes over. Then it's Kafka again, then Dable takes over. And now we're naming Kafka again. Like, what the hell? It's like, and the fact that he was being sought after for coaching jobs for a 30th ranked defense for multiple years just blew my mind. He goes, yeah, Kafka sucks. He goes, but this deal here with this season, Mara went and talked to Dable and said, listen, I'm going to give you this shot this year, right? But I want you to be the head coach only, and you're not going to worry about calling plays. I need you to focus on being a head coach and leading this team. I don't need you to be doing all this other stuff. You need to get this team together. So that's what you're going to do. So we're going to have Kafka call the plays here and stuff. So I don't want you doing those duties. You need to focus on controlling the whole team and getting straight. If you don't, see it.
Well,
So that's the whole reasoning behind
great
that whole
idea,
situation.
but he could be out anyway if the play calling's terrible. Yeah, so,
yeah.
like,
I know,
it's a
right?
double-edged
But
sword.
we'll get the play calling difference
It's a
now, though,
double-edged
right?
sword. But honestly, like, when
Yeah.
Daboll
Yeah.
came in, the Giants had pretty early success. They overachieved because he was calling the offense. So, like,
Mhm.
now you're telling me, like, you keep going back and forth, back and forth. Why? Listen, Daboll is more than capable, and that's the reason why he got the head coaching gig, is because of his offense, because of his offensive mind, his play calling back in Buffalo. Like,
Mhm.
now you bring that to New York, it's like now you don't want the guy that you hired to be the head coach, and the reason why you hired him is to turn this club around, especially offensively. You don't want him to do that? Like, I mean, let the guy do that. Listen,
Mhm.
you can
Mhm.
give
Yeah.
all week long, you can give Kafka all the assignments, come up with a game plan, blah blah blah. Then on the game day, Dayball calls the plays. That's not hard to do. The guy, it's
Mhm.
he knows
Mhm.
X's and O's. He knows what works, what doesn't work. So just let the dude work and stop interfering.
Oh yeah, I know. But when the owner says something, you do
Yeah,
it
and
though
then when he
too.
gets fi
But that's why, because that's why with us though, that's why we said it. Did it make sense?
yeah,
Well, owners do what they do though too. Do they always make sense in
well, no,
decisions they
that's why
make?
they're owners.
No. You do
That's
what
why
you're
they're
told,
owners and
right?
not
Yeah,
football people.
exactly. Yeah, I know. So Christian says, he goes, what I will say is I was in the stadium Sunday. I know a bunch of people that went to that game too, by the way. He said most games I'm outnumbered by opposing fans. Sunday, the energy was different, and it probably
Yeah.
85%
Mhm.
Giants fans. It's been so long since a "Let's Go Giants" chant took over the stadium. We caused 2 false starts on Sunday from crowd noise. Fans have seemed to buy in to Dart's aura. I think so too, and I agree with that. And that's what I think he does do and what he does drive, because again, Joe and I, we've gone to a couple of Giants games, last couple of seasons, and the same thing. It seems like I'm trying to cheer too and trying to get Giants fans up, and everybody's just kind of there watching and just chilling. They're like, here we go, going kind of going through the motions. I'm like, man, make some noise. You know what I mean? You see these other teams out there with these crowds, generating all this sound to make the noise, and Giants fans just kind of, yeah, all right, let's just go,
Christian, you might be onto something. This is
but
not a Giant segment, so let's move on to our next topic here.
all right, what's the next topic, Joe? Let's get right into Jets. All right. How about the Jets here? Because they did play the Miami Dolphins too on Monday night too. That game was a stinker. The only highlight for the Jets was a long run by Justin Fields again, which again shows that his running potential is like the only thing that is scary to that, and that the Jets, just aren't going to be good this year. I mean, they've played some good, tough games, throughout this season a little bit, but uh I think there's just going to be growing pains. You got your highs, your lows, and this and that. But what everybody's even kind of looking at is how Aaron Glenn is taking control of this team, right? Because he comes in with like the hard-nosed attitude. A guy messes up in practice where he gets cut right away. So I'm taking this hard line move, but then this seems like the team lacks discipline, penalties, making mistakes. Not, they're not scoring. The defense looks pretty good here too, but they can only do so much. So a lot of people are kind of holding Aaron Glenn now to the fire. And I think for me, it's a little premature.
It's really premature. Like it's not maybe or anything like that. Like this is ridiculous
Yeah.
for anybody to complain already about a new regime coming into this
Yeah.
organization, changing personnel, changing how their mindset is, and then the schemes and all that. Like everybody, all the players that are there and that have been added to the organization, they got to learn too. So like sometimes the so-called quick turnaround doesn't really happen because there's too much learning going on. There's too much implementing going on. So with new talent and then new schemes and new coaches, like it may take some time. It may take longer than Jets fans want it to take. And I understand there's some excitement before the season got here because they got a different quarterback in Justin Fields who can run, and that's kind of exciting to have a mobile quarterback. And Garrett Wilson was super excited, and everybody coming back and getting healthy and all that, getting right. But this team is still learning. And unfortunately, I know Jets fans, it's not what you want to hear, but sometimes you got to crawl before you walk. And that's really the epitome of the Jets right now. Like they have, honestly, their offensive line has impressed me up to this point. You know, Fasciano at left tackle has been playing amazing for them. And this team overall, especially when Justin Fields is at the helm, when he's healthy and he's in there, he does make a difference for this ball club. So I think the Jets aren't. I'm not saying hit the panic button right now. This is a team that is still growing and maturing and getting to know each other. So, uh, but I do like the direction the Jets are going. Might not look the prettiest sometimes, but when you watch some of the
Right.
games, you see sparks, you see highlights, and you're like, "Oh, all
Yeah.
right, they got a little something going on." So, you
Yeah, and you could see it, especially if you got the running game. You can work off of that.
Yeah, even with all the struggles and everything, I still like what I see from them at times. So it's a work in progress. This season is probably not going to be their year, and everybody should assume that that was going to be the case. But we'll see what happens. We still got a long season left. Maybe they can figure some things out, but we all knew that the Jets were still going to be kind of trying to work on it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And if you do remember, like back when Dan Campbell got hired at the Detroit Lions, too, he came in there, saying, "Oh, we're gonna bite kneecaps off. We're gonna do this all the blah." And they ended up what 3-13-1 that first year. It's not very good. Yeah, they went 0-10-1 like right away, and then they end up winning 3 games at the end. And you're like, oh yeah, maybe they're trying to turn it around. So they stunk, but you get the players to buy in. It's his first year as a coach, still with other players there, not even a chance to get his system together here. And this guy coming from the same coaching staff, give him that chance, because we've seen it happen when Dan Campbell. If the players do buy in on this guy, he can turn this thing around. I'm not saying he's going to turn around as quickly as Dan Campbell did, but we've seen this thing in the past, and now nobody's bringing up the Lions right now every year. And like, well, they've sucked in the past, so I don't know about them this year. I mean, they're a favorite now, a fan favorite. Who would have even thought that? I drive around and I'm seeing Lions bumper stickers on cars right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, they were a debacle. And now, they're a fan favorite, and they're winners. So it can be done,
but they did it rapidly. Like they turned that ball club completely around in 2 years.
But not even in the first season, though. Again, you're going to have your growing pains, and then you get
2 years.
Going.
Really, really quick turnaround for a team that has known nothing but losing for the most part. And for them to kind of turn it around, and they changed the mindset, they changed the culture, they changed how they view things, playing aggressively on offense and defense. That went a long way. I'm not saying the Jets can do the same thing, because it's different. They have a different mentality. Aaron Glenn is tough. I get all that. Like, he's back at home in New York, and everything is cool right now. And this is a team that, when I mentioned, like, you see things where, man, you know what? They're getting closer. There's only one game this year that they played, and that was the Buffalo Bills, where they got blown out 30-10. But every other game, guess what? They lost by 2 in week 1 against the Steelers. They lost by 2 against Tampa Bay. They lost and just recently they lost by 6 against the Dolphins. Like, they're like right, they're at least competitive. I mean, that's got to be all you can ask
and
for.
it looks like, to me, again, it doesn't seem like the players are giving up on him at all or anything.
Oh no,
like that,
the players love the guy.
Yeah,
the guy is definitely a player's coach, a guy who's been there, done that. They all know that. Played defensive back in this league for many years. So, I think they're all buying in.
Yeah, and Christian's talking about Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson rotting away on the Jets. They're wasting their prime years.
Hold on.
For now, but still, you can still, like I said, we're going to turn this thing around. They're going to be the key players.
Let's talk about Sauce Gardner for a second. All right, this dude gets penalties every single week for holding and grabbing and everything. I'm sorry, he's not one of the best corners in my eyes. He's just not. He commits way too many penalties to be deemed so. Like, there's other guys that you can kind of look at and be like, man, dude's legit. Like the kid with the Texans. Like he's phenomenal. He's a true shutdown corner. Doesn't really get penalties. So I like what I see from them.
So Glenn's little touchdown dance on the sideline is the highlight of that squad. It was sweet, though.
I don't know, man.
It was like, what do you call that?
I'm telling you right now, this is a team that's competitive every week.
Yeah.
I don't think they're in shambles like other teams are right now.
Yep. Yeah. No, I hear you. Again, I think they can turn it around. He also says, did you see Bob Saleh and Liam Cohen going back and forth after the game for the 49ers game?
I actually wanted Dana White to come on and be like, I'm going to announce the next UFC championship fight between Liam Cohen and Robert Saleh. Let's get it on.
Oh, geez.
That would have been awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, are we gonna now have a sign stealing debacle here? For the NFL now, and the
Listen,
with the
Robert
Jaguars and
Saleh
everything
said what
now.
he said. And you know what?
Yeah.
For a coach to come out and say that publicly, there's something to that. You're not going to come out
Mhm.
publicly and just say at a presser one day and be like, "Oh, you know what? I don't like that team over there," and I'm going to make something up to make them look bad. Oh,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
stemming from a different altercation. So, like to me, like for Robert Saleh to make those comments, there was a reason for it. And for Liam Cohen,
Mhm.
to be honest with you, to lose his shit on the football field over those comments shows me that maybe, if you're that upset about it, if it wasn't true, then you would be like, whatever.
Right.
He doesn't know what he's talking about. You know what I mean? But for you to react the way you did, Liam, I don't know, man. Like you're making it almost look like there's something to that.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's the thing. If you know it's fake, you're
Right.
blowing it off. You're like, yeah, whatever, dude. I'm telling you. I mean, you can believe me
Right.
or not, but whatever. We're not doing that. And the fact that he's just fired up about it, okay, man. All right,
Settle
I
down.
mean, now you're almost putting on that show for like to try and stand up for your guys. Like, oh, we're not
Mhm.
doing that, but either way, that game, it's tough to gauge some of these teams because Jacksonville, their team is pretty good. Like, they're playing good. I think right now, offensively, they're getting some things together. Defensively, they've been good, and so they're playing well there. But was that more of a telling game about what Jacksonville was doing, or even the fact that the 49ers struggling with
Injuries.
injuries now are just piling up that they just can't get anything going. So we're looking at another terrible year out of them to where now Christian McCaffrey has been one of the healthiest guys for them going. Brock Purdy's injury to get injured again after coming back from injury. And we're going to see Mac Jones
Which
again
isn't
this
a
week, Joe.
bad thing. I mean, Mac
Not
Jones is
terrible. He got banged up when he played though too.
he's doing just fine when he gets his opportunity there with the Niners. So it's not him. It's not like losing Brock Purdy. I get it. It's a little bit of a loss, but like Mac Jones is kind of holding it together. But the problem is the fact that the 49ers, like you mentioned, injuries are mounting up like crazy. Like for the first time, everybody else is getting injured. Christian McCaffrey's still healthy. Like he's still fine week to week. That's something to be said about that. The Niners offensive line still solid, still fine, but no Juwan Jennings again this week. By the way, it's on a short week. They play tomorrow night against the Rams. So you got Juwan Jennings that's going to be out. You got Brandon Ayuk obviously is still missing time. He's not ready to come back. And defensively, like you mentioned, Nick Bosa's gone. Michael Williams was banged up last week. I think he missed last week's game. I don't know about this Thursday night game. And it just keeps mounting up after that. Like I think they lost one of their safeties last week. He left the game or whatnot. So um, again, this is another team that had high expectations this year that is just being riddled with injuries or just losing big time bodies, and they don't have answers for it because you can't make up for a Nick Bosa. It's not like you got four Nick Bosas on the bench. Like now you got to try to make something else happen. And Robert Saleh, like losing all these really good defensive players right now, it's hurting the whole team as a whole. And it makes sense. Like I know everybody deals with injuries. That's that whole saying every year. Like you got to overcome it. But sometimes when you lose too
Mhm.
many good players, you just can't really overcome that.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, Christian says, "Don't jinx McCaffrey like that, fellas, please." Oh man, yeah. He's just said neighbors just went down. I can't have you guys pointing out McCaffrey's health on the show like that.
Too late.
I know, right? Too late. Yeah. And then he's wondering what Robert Saleh said before. Is like he went out there and made
He
comments
said that they
to
were sign stealing.
immediate. He just said he's like, it's impressive the really advanced sign stealing, system that they're using right now. And then now he comes out and tries to clarify. He's like, well, that was a compliment because I was kind of saying it in jest of saying whatever preparation they did, it must have been some really advanced because they really knew what they were doing and they made some great plays to get in great
Well, you would have
positions.
said that then.
But when he
You would have
initially
said that then.
said it, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it really heated and sparked things then. But then even to argue the fact, even if you said that in jest, say you're saying as a compliment, wouldn't you again if a guy's mad at you for saying, I'm like, dude, I meant that as a compliment. I'm sorry. You're backing down. There was no back down on that one.
No,
So
no back down at all.
who knows? Again, where's smoke, there could be fire. But yeah, the 49ers, again, in a tough division to where these teams, again, Seattle's playing well. Arizona just got off a bad loss there, but I mean, they're still in that game. So they're a pretty good team. The Rams looking good. So 49ers, after making it to multiple Super Bowl appearances and now injuries plaguing this team, and lack of talent and wide receiver at this point too, unless again you count Parasol and
Oh, by the way, he's out this week.
George Kittle's not able to come back. So yeah,
By the way, he's out.
It just comes So then you're kind of looking at the defense and you're like, all right, they got Fred Warner even, like okay, and so a shell of their former selves, a former contender every year, to where now you've got your Brock Purdy into a long-term deal. You got to try and get other talent there and rebuild this team to get back where you were. So Kyle Shanahan has his work.
I mean, honestly, guys just got to be healthy. I mean, really, that team was a competitive team before all the injuries. So, like, guys just got to get healthy. That's the bottom line. Like, they've been adding new talent. Like, even on the defensive side, there's a lot of younger defensive backs now that they're relying on and are playing at an excellent high level. So, I have no doubts about the Niners in their direction or what they're doing personnel wise, but these guys got to stay healthy. I don't know what it is about certain teams that constantly get injured. To me, the only thing that I can point to is your training staff. Your training staff are the ones that are, they have all the listen. They're supposed to be the guys to prevent injury. You're supposed to do workouts and stretches, and then the trainers are supposed to advise certain players how to handle certain injuries. And for some reason, that the 49ers are not one of those teams that typically stay pretty healthy. They don't. And you got to start looking somewhere. And I think training staff comes to mind where like if they haven't changed their training staff in like the last 15 years or something like that, like maybe you should. Maybe you need to go with a younger or even just more advanced, different, different mindset of how to handle injuries or soft tissue problems. So Niners, I mean, I mean, this is the thing is like they've established so many injuries at this point that you're bound to lose some games.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's move on now to the Cleveland Browns here. Joe Flacco now being benched. They're making the decision. They're going to start Dylan Gabriel. So now this is going to start the clock on things too and see. So there's going to be a focus
before
on
we get into
Dylan
this.
Gabriel on this.
By the way, just so everybody knows, Shedeur Sanders is still the third quarterback. Let's make that perfectly clear.
Let's make that clear. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm waiting to see if Dylan Gabriel does not play well. Like how many, again, chance are we going to get? How many X posts are we going to get? Like, you got to put Shedeur in. No, you're just, how many media personalities are going to go after the Browns?
Was this the plan all
if Dylan Gabriel doesn't play well?
Was this the plan to start off with Flacco?
Was this the plan?
If Flacco plays really well, you leave him in there and nobody can fault you for it. But if Flacco does struggle like he has the last couple of games, well, now, we got two rookies that we really like. All right, let's give Dylan Gabriel a shot first. Let's see what he can do for the next 2 or 3 games. And if he struggles a lot, then we'll put Shedeur in. And down the stretch of the season, we'll see what he's got. And if guess what? If nothing works, just go draft another quarterback.
Yeah, just another one. Why not? We've already been on 16, right? Or so 15, so let's just keep it going, right? Yeah. And you would think that was the plan, right? Because again, I think they grabbed Joe Flacco. He's familiar with the system. He's led them to the playoffs before. They're like, all right, we could probably run this back again. We got a great defense. Let's do this. And if it happens to go awry, this is what we got. And that's what they're executing the plan here too. And it's really, I think, a great opportune time for them to make this switch. Going overseas to London now, they're going to be playing the Vikings, who are beat up at the offensive line position, right? And the Cleveland Browns, where their defense, they're number one in total defense altogether, number one in run defense, fourth in pass defense. And they're going to be rushing that battered offensive line. And we saw what happened to the Vikings last week against the Steelers. We'll wait till the Browns get in there and start attacking these guys, and Myles Garrett getting into that backfield and being all over Carson Wentz again, who I'm expecting to start again. So this is going to be rough. And like I said, that number one run defense, you don't have Aaron Jones, but Jordan, whatchamacallit, has been at the running back,
Jordan Mason,
Jordan Mason has been effective, but they shut down the run here and put it against Carson Wentz. I think this could be a feeding fest for this Cleveland Browns defense. And now you're just asking the rookie, basically make some safe plays
here. I hope
here.
People aren't going to tune into this game and think, oh, this is going to be amazing. It's going to be high scoring, blah, blah, blah. Because this is going to be the epitome of a defensive game, where you got the Cleveland Browns, who have an excellent defense. You got the Vikings that have an excellent defense. But then you look at the offenses, it's like, well, J.J. McCaffrey just practiced today in full participation. So it seems like he's on track to come back and be the quarterback for the Vikings. We've seen what he could do. We've seen his struggles as well early on. And then you look at Dillon Gabriel being another rookie, in a sense, for the Cleveland Browns, and he's getting his first start in a international stage, by the way. Not really sure what the crowd, demographic's going to be like whether it be like more Vikings fans or Browns fans. But what's going to be interesting is, it's going to be loud regardless. Like, I feel like these games, these international games, no matter if you're home or away, it's just loud all the time. Like, they just cheer constantly over there. So I think that this is going to be a game of who makes the least amount of mistakes as a younger quarterback. If Dillon Gabriel can limit mistakes or eliminate mistakes, the Browns might have the edge in that game. But the same thing could be said for J.J. McCaffrey and the Vikings offense. Is both teams are going to try to stop the run. They're going to force the young guys to have to step up and make plays. So very intriguing matchup, especially at this point in the year. Two young quarterbacks going at it. I'm all in. I can't wait to see how this all unfolds.
Yeah, absolutely, Joe. And technically, if you look at the global markets program that they started, and they expanded this even this year to now all these other countries, the Vikings do have the market there in the United Kingdom. So I would say there was probably going to be a majority of Vikings fans there. But again, I think it's going to be kind of disappointing because, again, you're not going to get to see that great offense of everybody there. I mean, Carson Wentz is going to have a day full with everything there. I think with this defense, who's been played really well and kept them in games. And that's why I feel like them now, they need to figure out what they have as a quarterback here for the future and see if that creates a spark. Sort of like much like what the Giants did, say, hey, this guy doesn't have it enough for us to make a push here. We've got a really great defense. If we got a guy that can kind of get this offense sparked a little bit, we can maybe make something out of this. Or worst case, he grows, gets experience, and then we see what we have moving forward.
Right.
So that's what we'll get to see. That's one, maybe if you want to talk about it, be exciting part about this game. We get to see Dillon Gabriel, see what he has. That's what I'll be watching. As far as the game and enjoying that, I'm probably not going to be enjoying a whole lot of it.
You won't be.
I'll
You're
get
not
up
tuning
there
into this game for offense. I'll tell you that right now.
I'll get my morning coffee and everything and eating my raisin bread, and I'm like, oh man, okay, let's see what this kid's got. Besides that, I'm like, this game sucks. You know what I mean? In the background. So, but yeah, it'll be interesting. And again, I think that if it does not play well again, I think very quickly we'll be hearing all the Shedeur Sanders supporters come out of everywhere, and so
it's interesting with these international games though, because even though there's a so-called even if it's a market team in the area and everything, and they're considered the home team, it's still a 50-50 split. Like it's the Vikings.
That last game though, the Steelers fans, they're all Steelers fans. It was like 80%.
it's Steelers or Vikings or whoever the home team is, but then on the other side around the whole stadium, they're sprinkled in NFL fans, like in just general.
No, no,
Like
I get that.
it's
Yeah.
pretty insane on how popular the NFL is internationally. Like they just pack those
Mhm.
things every single game.
Yeah, which is why they're trying this whole deal or whatever. And like you and I, we talked about, I mean, overall to make add another team out of this to the already
Makes
NFL, I
no
think is
sense at
stupid.
all.
If you want to do an international
If
league again, start it back up. They've already
I
did it
think,
before.
yeah,
Try it again
I
now.
think
Maybe it'll work. But the addition right now,
I
I
think
think
the
is
only way
just
you
dumb.
can
And we
pull off an
understand why though.
addition is if it's in Canada or Mexico,
Mhm.
like something
Something
that
near,
you can
yeah,
fly to real quickly,
continental US or North
you know?
America. Yeah. Yeah. Yep, yep, absolutely. All right, so there you go. That's our segments for the night. We're gonna get right to our pick segment, though, Joe. You guys can play along with us. Pick who you're gonna pick out there too. It's been a pretty good year so far for us for picks, and we've been really doing pretty good out there. Again, despite some of the ups and downs for teams. So we'll roll through this, and then we'll get the hell up out of here, and we'll see you guys next time. So Thursday night, tomorrow night, like you said, we talked about the San Francisco 49ers, the Los Angeles Rams. Again, I don't think there's much to be said about this. Again, too many injuries for the San Francisco 49ers. You got Mac Jones, who, again, I think will do decent, but again,
Who's
with
he
lack of
throwing to?
weapons, you're going to try to run the ball effectively the best they can. But the Rams, again, still healthy, got full firepower here, and they're home. I like the Rams
Yeah,
in
there's
this
not
one.
much,
No brainer.
debate about this game. Is like you're gonna have
Yeah.
the loyalists with the 49ers saying, "No, we're gonna win no matter what." But dude, the injuries is it's
All
all
day,
key
baby.
injuries too, which is insane. So that like that right
Yeah.
there is gonna
Oh,
be a
yeah.
huge crutch. And I don't know if they can overcome that. The Rams, again, they're running on all cylinders right now. Matt Stafford loves his new toy at wide receiver with Devontae Adams, and Puka Nakua is going crazy right now this season. So give me the Rams, give me the running game, give me the young defense that they have. I got the Rams to win.
uh,
It's
Joe,
not a jersey.
Joe,
It's a shirt.
Trisha says, Joe, why is your jersey
It's
out
a shirt,
backwards?
brah.
It is,
Hey,
but it
thanks.
even says it's a shirt. But what's funny too is it's actually in reverse too. So I don't know if you have your mirror on or anything like that on your
No,
camera. So it's like mirrors it because it says YTNE or AE and something so backwards. So it's kind of funny. So, yeah, but yeah, it's not a jersey though. It is a shirt, but yeah, it is. It's it's kind of reading it backwards. It is funny though. That's the way these cameras go though. Sometimes we have to do this streaming wise.
anyway,
So
moving on.
position. Anyways, yes, I'm glad you noticed what Joe is wearing. An hour and a half into the show. So Minnesota Vikings, Cleveland Browns. We just talked about this game again. Even though, again, I think it's going to be a good amount of Vikings fans there. Doesn't matter. This team is too beat up here for this Cleveland defense. I say Cleveland gets out of there with a win.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree. I think the Cleveland Browns, like, I feel like it's going to be a defensive game. Both teams have to limit mistakes, and not for nothing, but like JJ McCarthy, when he's asked to throw the football, it's a little scary. It's a little, not really trustworthy. And the only reason why JJ McCaffrey came back with the Vikings to win the game when he was playing is because of his legs. So this good defense, give me the Browns in this one. I got more faith in Dylan Gabriel than I do JJ right now.
All right. Next, we've got the Houston Texans and the Baltimore Ravens. I feel like this one again. Houston still hasn't shown me anything offensively. They're terrible. Settling for all field goals like last week is just not very good. Really struggling here on offense with passing the game, running the ball effectively. Baltimore, even though if Lamar Jackson doesn't start in this game, if he's going to be injured for a couple of weeks here, I really believe that Tyler Huntley could get the job done here too, even though again, injuries on Baltimore on both sides of the ball too as well. I think that'll make it just a bit
Yep.
closer, but Baltimore at home, I think they will step up, and I think they can come out of here with a win against
It's
Houston.
definitely going to depend on Derrick Henry, right? Like, because there's no
Right? Yeah, you got to
like
put it all on him, right?
there's no doubt about it. Every single week, you got to prepare for the big man, and you know that the Ravens are
Mhm.
going to try to run the ball down your throat. So that's going to be the decision right there. It's going to be the deciding factor of this game is can the Texans defense, which mind you is a very good defense, Can they slow down or stop Derrick Henry and make the backup quarterback throw the football? I think if they can do that, then they got a real legit shot of beating the Baltimore Ravens. And again, we talked about the Niners and how banged up they are. The Ravens they got a laundry list of injuries as well, and all key guys too. Like they're still waiting for the return of Kyle Van Noy. Now Lamar Jackson is down. He's not going to play for the next couple of weeks at least. And they got to rely on someone, so it's got to be Derrick Henry. So I mean, for the Texans, to me, like, listen, they haven't shown anything. Like, they haven't shown like we have arrived this year yet. And I wonder if this is going to be that game where they're going to have a chance with all these injuries mounting up for Baltimore, that they got a real legit chance to come away and steal a win out of Baltimore and get themselves back on track. So give me the Houston Texans in this one.
All right, next we got the Miami Dolphins and Carolina Panthers, and it's kind of funny with this team, right? Carolina,
No,
no, 1 week they're shutting out the Falcons. Next week they're getting demolished. The week before that they got demolished. So like there's up and down, right? You just don't know what you're getting out of this. Miami, it seems like now they're trying to pull out all the stops the best they can here. What trick plays with Tua, trying to get some stuff going. Again, you don't have Tyreek Hill, but that might be a good, distraction you don't have anymore here for you to work out. Waddle was getting some plays, but again, I think that you really need to kind of focus this team around Devon Achane. Yeah, they've been putting him out in like passing plays more, but I think they got to let him run the ball more effectively too, and then get him out, sprinkle him out in passing too as well. I think that'll open it up this offense here, but let's get it going here. I think Miami, they've got a good shot to take this one here and win another one. I've got the Dolphins in this one.
That's the problem, though, is like teams have been bottling up the running game for the Dolphins, making Tua have to overcome things. And that's where they kind of been struggling, because if they're made to be one-dimensional, that's not their game. Their game is they love utilizing the running game and creating RPOs out of it and deception. And we saw that, this past week with them, where you started to see the old Dolphins offense that we're accustomed to seeing, very creative, spontaneous. And now that they're kind of back on track, but can they keep that thing going? So like now that you take Tyreek Hill out of the equation now this upcoming week, it changes your dynamic on offense. No one's going to be scared of Hill running past them anymore. They just got to worry about Jalen Waddle. They're going to double team the crap out of him, and then they're going to stop your run. So, both teams have been like a roller coaster this year for me. I still to this day don't trust the Dolphins. I don't trust the Panthers. But give me the Carolina Panthers. No science in this. I'm going to go with the home team here, and we'll see what happens when the dust settles.
Right. Yeah. It's a crapshoot at this point, right, Joe? Yeah. And all right, next we got the Vegas Raiders and the Indianapolis Colts. Indianapolis gets their first loss last week, but again, it was a close matchup. Daniel Jones getting his first turnovers and stuff. Vegas again. Watching them again is frustrating, Joe, and I'm sure you probably understand that too. You're Raiders fan stuff, but again, seeing Geno Smith, yeah. So you're seeing the emergence of Genty and what he's doing, but then again, Geno with the turnovers that kind of kill you, because they would be in some of these games because they still kind of get back in the game too. But the turnovers that he does,
really only
just
this past game against Chicago, where he had enormous amounts of turnovers, three interceptions. I mean, you can't win games when you have that many turnovers. 2, you might be able to overcome. 1, sure, you can overcome that. But 3, that's, it's a little ridiculous. And you're just killing yourselves, shooting yourself in the foot. But for Geno Smith, has been pretty solid this season so far, up until the Chicago game, where and it's one of these things with the Raiders where it's almost like they do one thing right, another thing right, but then there's 1 or 2 other things that they do absolutely wrong week to week. And it changes. Oh, the offensive line played like crap. But the receivers were doing good, and Geno Smith was dialed in, but we couldn't run the ball. And then this past week, we could run the ball, but we couldn't throw the ball. The offensive line played better, and the defense played elite. But we still came in with a loss because we turned the ball over too many times. So it's like there's always something with the Raiders.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, Max Crosby balling out like he always does. And I think he's going to show up in this game too. But overall, I think just Indianapolis is still a better team. I'm going to go with the Colts on
Yeah,
this one.
the Colts are going to be missing one of their tackles, their starting tackle, Brian O'Neill. He's going to be missing some time. So that's definitely going to come into factor in this game. But I just think that, like, the Raiders with the new regime with Pete Carroll there and new coaching staff and all that, I think there's just been too much change and they haven't figured it out, like what they need to do as a football team. How are we going to win? What can we do to improve? They're still lost, and it's terrible to watch. Like, any football fan that watches has ever watched the Raiders this year so far, you're like, oh my god, they're terrible. Like, the back end of the defense is terrible. Like, the offense is
Yeah.
still not, in sync. So with this game with the
Hmm.
Colts, which is a big turnaround team, like, we're surprised that the Colts are playing as well as they have, and let alone Daniel Jones at the helm. So again, he had another pretty good week last week playing the
Hmm.
Rams. They were competitive. They were right there. Give me the Colts in this one. This is kind of like a no-brainer to me. Like, dude, what's the money line on this thing? Like, I want to bet. I want to bet
Yeah.
the
Right.
I want to whoever plays the Raiders this year. Like, I'm just going to bet against the Raiders. Should be able to win.
Yeah, absolutely. So next we got the Giants and the Saints here. This game looks a little bit different here from what we were thinking when the season started. Saints, they've been a team again that kind of compete still a little bit
Right.
in a bunch of different games. They kept it close in Buffalo for a bit too. So this one I think is still going to be a pretty close game. Uh, the Giants did win last week, and you know
They
me, I
did.
always pick against the Giants, so I could do that. But let's go start with you on this one then. On this one, who you think
I
you
mean,
have?
it's this is also another one of those games where, to me, it's not really much of a question. The Saints are a dumpster fire. Their defense sucks. Their offense seems to be spitting and sputtering and just trying to kind of hang in there every single week. But I just don't think they have what it takes. Like, they're likely getting back Taysom Hill, I think, either this week or next week. Uh, and that's going to actually help their offense, put them at tight end or whatnot. But still, I think this team has a long way to go. I'm not confident about their quarterback play. I still think that they're hurting there. Spencer Rattler has been able to kind of supersede my expectations this year so far.
Mhm.
But even all that, I love what the Giants have right now. A healthy offensive line, a Jackson Dart who lit up a spark. They played the Chargers, outplayed the Chargers in every facet of the game, and I think that continues. I think the Giants are going to play the New Orleans Saints. The Saints are going to basically don't think this is much of a matchup, but they better be ready because if Jackson Dart is healthier, after pulling his hamstring last week, like, that's kind of got to be monitored throughout this week. But if he's ready to go, then the Giants, I got all the confidence in the world with the Giants. Give me the Giants over the Saints on this one.
Yeah, we've got Christian. He says two skunks fighting over who stinks worse. Oh man, I like it. I like the analogy on that one. Yeah, so you're going with the Giants. That's cool. And that for me, I'm like, again, my thing is always bet against them and stuff to make it work. But just because again, maybe I don't want to jinx it. But like, oh yeah, I'm buying in on this. I think they can win this one because this one is one of those games like that. The Giants always play down to some of these teams that they should beat, and then they play up to a team that's really good. So then you're like, oh, I think they got a shot. Then I think they're pretty good, like that, which they did here with the Chargers, and then they could lose to a Saints team. But overall, like you said, I like what they're doing here, and that is better. But New Orleans again, not a very good team, but competitive. And where I think now you're hearing murmurs as we're going to be seeing the trade deadline in a few more weeks, that Alvin Kamara could be on the line, and a bunch of other people starting to dump weight on this. I hope they continue it here. The Giants do look different with Jackson Dart under it. I believe in them. And so maybe I think I'm going to go with the Giants on this one as well. All right. So next, let's move on to the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Jets. How about the Cowboys tying the game up here with the Packers? Very competitive, and that's one thing they have surprised me a bit because I thought even not having Micah Parsons, that defense was gonna not play as well, and it looked at it at times, and they're still not because they're allowing 40 something points every single week. But making enough plays to kind of stay in it, and the offense is really just trying to outfire the other team too. And what they have, and luckily for them, George Pickens has really stepped up for not having CeeDee Lamb there. But the big surprise for me is getting that running game going. That's been key for them to stay complementary and be able to run the ball efficiently. So people still have to respect the run. So then they'll give up those big chunk plays to, Pickens out there.
Yeah, the Cowboys, they've done a good job of rebuilding that offensive line. I know we were complaining about that in the offseason, like, what are they gonna
Mhm.
do? Like but by drafting Tyler Booker was kind of like that one last piece that they needed to kinda complete the set, and it showed, and now that they have a guy like Javonte Williams, who honestly, back with the Denver Broncos, looked terrible. Like, he couldn't break
Mm.
anything open, could not get any kind of long sustaining runs or whatnot. So now he looks like a completely different person. I guess, like, the
Yeah.
offense wasn't
Mhm.
right for him or something, like the blocking scheme. I don't know what it is, but he found it in Dallas, and now he's, reaping the benefits here. So, um, I love the Cowboys offense. I think the Cowboys offense is still going to be really tough to stop, even though they don't have CeeDee Lamb. And defense, that's the issue. How many points are going to give up this week?
Mhm.
Like, it seems like it's 30
Mhm.
plus points every single week or more. And now you're playing a Jets team that pretty they're pretty physical. They're pretty tough, and honestly, like, this is a tough game for me to pick because I gotta say, like, I really kind of want to pick the Cowboys in this one, but there's something in me is telling me to pick the Jets. I think that at home, it definitely gives them a real legit shot of winning. This is a real physical football team, and I think that I'm betting that the Jets play better defense than the Cowboys, and absolutely upset the Cowboys.
All right. I'm hoping for that, but I don't think that's what's going to happen just because I think the opposite is the fact that this offense of the Jets isn't going to perform well.
Well,
They did bring in again a run stopper, and that's what the Jets do well is run the ball. And so I think that's going to be the case there too. And I think that the Dallas Cowboys are going to throw on the defense and still score because it's a great offense. So I think they're just it's not going to matter. The Jets are not going to put up points on this defense, even though the defense is not very good.
yeah, I mean,
So I'm going to go with the
I
Cowboys in
think
this one.
differently. The Cowboys haven't proved
No,
anything
that's
to
fine.
stop anybody. I mean, with how competitive the Jets have been playing, especially offensively, being putting 20 plus points up
Yeah,
every week. Now you're playing.
I don't think the Jets are going to put up 40 points this week.
No one said
I
40
don't
points.
think they might put up 20. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I think that the Cowboys, I think, are still going to put up probably
Oh,
30 points against the
I
Jets
don't think they'll
defense.
put up that much. We'll see.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see. All right. So next we got the Denver Broncos and the Philadelphia Eagles. Denver, yeah, they end up getting a win this week. Dominant performance, but again, it's a bad team that's battered and disappointing. And just not a good defense either. They're facing a good team now in Philadelphia at home. Philadelphia is still a balanced team, and they can win in all phases. So I like the Philadelphia Eagles in this one.
This is an interesting game. Honestly, you're going to have the better defense on the football field, but not the better offense. With the Denver Broncos, like the Eagles, I feel like get the
Yeah.
edge offensively. Can the Broncos stop or
Mm.
slow down Saquon Barkley? That's going to be the big key thing because that's really what kind of opens up the playbook for the Philadelphia Eagles and Jalen Hurts is if they can successfully run the ball, they're going to be able to open up all these other plays where you're just going to be on your heels as a defense. So, a big test for the Denver Broncos going into Philly. This is intriguing because neither team really knows each other, and it's going to be kind of like a boxing match. So, uh, I not in love with what the Eagles have shown thus far as an offense and even a defense, but tough one. I'm going to go with the Denver Broncos, though. I'm going to go with the better defense on this one and see if they can edge out the Philadelphia Eagles.
All right. Next, we got the Tennessee Titans and the Arizona Cardinals. Again, this is a tough one here. What's funny is
Brian Callahan.
I, r-
Just saying. Brian Callahan is calling plays. Brian Callahan is
yeah, basically
basically getting the finger pointed at him for being such a terrible coach. Supposed to be an
yeah,
offensive mind, but where's the offense? You know, I
yeah,
understand you got a rookie quarterback, but good God, you can't put up points.
yeah. Yeah, and it is tough. And Arizona, I think, is good, but the connection or lack thereof connection with Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. Marvin Harrison Jr. It almost looks like to me, and again, it's just my opinion. I'm just looking at it and watching him play. Seems like he's just kind of going through the motions, almost on his natural talent that he has, his height, his ability, and he's not running clean routes and just I don't know. But then also, it seems like Kyler Murray, being as short as he is, not being able to get the ball into the position that fits like Harrison Jr. the best. Like again, I feel like to get the ball, you have to get like high jump, challenging type of passes to him. He's got the height, the strength, and ability, and they're constant balls there where he's got to slow down, not go full speed, not jump, not go high. He's got to go back shoulder or something or other just to catch a ball that really should be meant up here for him to go up for and get. And the fact that he's not producing, I think, is really discouraging for especially where he's been picked.
I think Marvin Harrison is disappointing himself. Like I don't think it's the
Oh yeah.
quarterback. I think Marvin Harrison is thinking too much. He's not confident at all. When you watch him run his
No, which
routes
I
and
don't
stuff,
get.
he's thinking. That's why he's running so slowly, or it's almost like he's doing a math
Yeah.
equation while he's running his route and like, wait, X times Y equals shit, I gotta turn here real quick. Like he's thinking about the game. And this is his second year. This isn't rookie year where there is like everyone understands it's like, okay, he's learning slower, he's gonna
Learning
get
curve.
there. We just
Yeah.
gotta wait till like, until he shows up. But we're seeing a guy who's just not confident in himself, in his abilities or himself. We're seeing a guy who's doing more thinking than reacting, and that's slowing him down. And Kyler Murray is trying to adapt to that. But when he throws a back shoulder throw on the sideline to Marvin Harrison, and he's still running down the sideline as it's a go route. Like it's more Marvin Harrison than anything, and he's just not up to par yet. And it's his second year. It's not something that should be happening, but it's happening. And Jim, you bring up a good point
Mhm.
about how that 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 connection there is just it's not all there. So he's got to
It's not
rely on
all
guys
there.
like
Yeah.
Greg Dortch to kind of
Yeah.
he's got to rely on Michael Wilson opposite Marvin Harrison Jr. And this is another team though that I'm really concerned with because there's no speed. There's no wide receiver on this
Yeah.
on this
Mhm.
football team that has top end speed to threat to make that big threat deep down the field. And that's what they're missing, and I feel like it's kind of putting themselves in a cage here. No matter what team they play, everybody says, "Hey, we don't have to worry about the deep ball. We just don't. We just we play up. He's going to throw a 10-yard pass, a 5-yard pass, and we're going to attack." So this is a Cardinals team that I feel like is still trying to figure themselves out. They surprised us last season to kind of overachieve in a sense last year, and this
Mhm.
year you're
Mhm.
still seeing them still trying to figure out the math equation, and it's just not working.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's tough, and Christian brings up a point there too, where he hit him right in the face mask, and he still didn't bring it in. And I mean, you're a good
Right.
receiver. You're Marvin Harrison Jr. Your father's Hall
Yeah.
of Famer. Like this, you've been doing this forever. And again, like now you're getting to this level, and it seems like again, like you said, overthinking for some reason. But even when I remember, there's one particular play when there's nothing there, Kyler Murray bootlegs out. Everybody ran their
Mhm.
routes, like everybody, and then just stopped, like
Yeah.
stood there. Like, dude,
It's a
break a route, go deep, go out,
right. It's
do
a
something.
broken
He's
play.
running now. You're looking at him
It's a broken
running,
play.
and then you're just standing there.
You get
Yeah.
listen,
Like that's one of the things you learn early
and this
on.
is the funny part of all this is that there's guys that play in my flag football league that
Yeah.
have better smarts as receivers than the guys that we see on the Cardinals. Like
Yeah.
they might have elite athletic talent, but as far as the brains up here, like, what are you doing when your quarterback's running for his life? Why are you standing there? You should be running either back towards him or towards the sideline or trying to get open for him so he can make that throw. And we're not seeing that with the Cardinals offense. So we're sorry you guys were kind of spending too much time on this game, but the Arizona Cardinals,
Yeah, I know, but it's just something I had
I
to
love
bring
their
up though.
defense. Their offense
Mhm.
is it's frustrating to watch, to be honest. And now they're
Mhm.
also down another
Mhm.
running back, by the way. Trey Benson, he's going to be down
Mhm.
missing some time.
Mhm.
James Conner, he's down missing some time. it's next man up mentality. Now it's going to be DeMarco, Eric DeMarco, the other running back. Like he's
Yeah,
going to get a shot. Like
yeah. Yep.
the Titans, maybe this is one of those games where the Titans get their first win. Maybe if
Yeah.
maybe the offense can figure some things out, but uh, until that day happens, I think the Titans have struggled too much on offense to be that team. Give me the Cardinals at home.
Yeah, I'm going to do the same too. But again, I know, and I guess we just brought up a whole lot more than we needed to in the game to make it interesting. But it was just something, again, folk that I just noticed. And I'm like, that's an interesting point because of where he was drafted and what his potential could be. And the fact that it's just
But
not there, you're like, it's
here's
mind
the other
boggling.
part, Jim.
So,
For Marvin Harrison Jr., I really think he would be deadly as a slot receiver, not an outside receiver.
mhm,
He's
mhm,
got decent speed for his size, but he doesn't have blazing speed. So my thing
mhm,
is if they could ever get that speed demon of a wide receiver, you put him on the outside to be that big deep threat.
mhm.
And then you have Harrison Jr. in the
Yeah.
slot where he can decimate third string
Yeah.
corners, linebackers, like no one's gonna be able to stop the guy.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, that's a good idea. All right, next we got a couple of games going here. We got Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Seattle Seahawks. Bucks in a tough one. Just can't get it done. Baker Mayfield again to where we enjoy his greatness and what he does, and he's a great baller. But again, trying to do too much sometimes leads to those mistakes, and that you saw a little bit of that last week. Bouncing in and out, avoiding tackles, but eventually throwing picks, which could have turned into points, for them. So hopefully he can wipe the slate clean on this one. Go into Seattle where it's always tough to play, and they're just kind of play off their defense. And again, Sam Darnold just not making mistakes here. It's cool, calm, collect, doing his thing, and making it happen. And so this makes this game a little more intriguing. I think Seattle's going to play them tough, but I think I'm still going to go with Tampa Bay to edge them out in this
Yeah,
one.
I mean, for me, this is Seattle Seahawks are a weird team now. They've totally
Mhm.
transformed their offense so much so that I don't even recognize them anymore. The only guy
Yeah.
that I know that I watch games and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, Sam Darnold's still there. He's with Seattle, and oh yeah, like I know Kenneth Walker, he's a staple there.
Yeah.
But like,
Mhm.
where's the rest of the weapons? Where's DK Metcalf? He's not there anymore. Oh, geez, he went to Pittsburgh. Tyler Lockett,
Yeah,
he's a
yeah, yeah.
Titan. I mean, it's so
Mhm.
different to watch them now that and they look like a shell of themselves as an offense. Defensively, they're pretty good. I mean, every
Mhm.
every level,
Oh,
they're
yeah.
pretty good defense, but
Mhm.
offensively, I just don't recognize it. Like, and it's almost
Mhm.
at times like they struggle to score points, even with
Mhm.
newly acquired Sam Darnold, even with Jackson
Yeah.
Smith and Jibba as their kind of number one target. But give me the Buccaneers in this one. I love the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to kind of bounce back this week, get a win here in Seattle, and fly home. Give me the Baker Mayfield and
Alright,
Emiko
next
Ibuka,
week.
the rookie wide receiver.
Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah, yeah. They've been a really big connection there. Absolutely. Detroit and Cincinnati. Cincinnati, again, we've talked about their woes over and over again. This game is a wash. I think Detroit just lights them up. When Detroit's really flying high right now, kind of a slow start that week one, but now it seems like they're running on all cylinders, got it going on. The two running back tandem again back in play. They tried to do, I think, too much of just Amir Gibbs in the beginning. Now they're really
Yep.
bouncing out with both running backs. It's really made it nice, balanced offense going forward. Defense making some plays too on top of it. So yeah, I like Detroit on this
Yeah,
one
I
all
mean,
day.
if if we could take into account like a Joe Burrow less Bengals team, imagine if Joe Burrow was on this team though right now. Like I feel like this is
Oh, I know that changes it from a like a
yeah,
must get
yeah,
watch game, right?
and the
In the
crazy part
afternoon.
is and that's even being said with Bengals defense, it's pretty porous, not very good.
Yeah.
But Joe Burrow, you
Uh-huh.
see how much of a difference that makes is if your starter's there, you got a shot, you know? So
Right.
for the Bengals to lose their starter,
And
and
that.
by the way, we keep
Mhm.
talking about it, but we talked about it in our show last night. Why aren't the Bengals reaching out to teams that might be willing to trade their backups? You know what I mean? Like I don't understand what it seems to me like they're basically giving up on the season. Like, oh, we're just gonna roll with what we got, and yeah, it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Like I don't think that's the right
Mhm.
mentality. So, Bengals in
Yeah.
disarray, Lions all day long. Like they're playing so much better football, brand of football last week, this week. Yeah, it's a no brainer on this one.
Mhm, mhm. All right, next we got the Commanders and the Chargers. Um, did they say that Jaden Daniels was gonna be able to play or
Jaden
is still
gonna be back
questionable
this
for the
week.
game?
Yeah,
Is he
he's
gonna be back this week?
questionable.
So that changes
He's
everything in
deemed
this one.
questionable, but he's practicing. He's gonna
Yeah,
be back.
yeah, yeah. So Chargers again want to probably wipe that blood off their mouth that the Giants gave them here and come back with a win here. But it's tough now. Now you got Jaden Daniels back in the house. It's a whole
Mhm.
different element to this team. Because again, Marcus Mariota did all right for them for what they could. You know
Right.
what I mean? And I know Rise Up wants to claim a great victory, but it was a close one against a Commanders team led by Mariota. So,
Mhm.
um, I think this is going to be a tough game matchup here, and I want to say the Chargers have enough to get it done, but I think I might go with the Commanders on this one. Just having Jaden Daniels back healthy with these guys just changes the whole element to this
Yeah.
one. And because Chargers, I mean, they were winning, and I get that they were an undefeated team for a while, but
They didn't play any juggernaut
they
teams.
weren't doing any really great teams, and they weren't
Mhm.
blowouts, right? And they weren't really kind of surprising you at all.
No,
Um,
let's just
so
can we
yeah, I'm
just
gonna
say
go with
this?
it.
Hey, by the way, the Giants beat the Chargers last week,
Yeah.
guys. I don't know if you know this,
Yeah.
but it happened. The Giants beat the Chargers. So
Yep.
that has to go to show you that it is any given Sunday. Doesn't matter how good or how bad of a
Mhm.
team you are. Sometimes, hey, weird stuff happens. Commanders, Chargers, Jaden Daniels coming back. That's going to give them a huge boost on offense for sure. And the Chargers, like they got to try to figure some things out. Listen, they lost not one but two starting offensive linemen last week. So
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
is gonna be a big deal going into this game. Like, I feel like, the Commanders and their front seven is gonna do their due diligence to kinda stop the run. This is a team that loves to run the football. If they can limit them, make them one dimensional, and then just pin their ears back and get right after Justin Herbert, I think that's gonna be the game plan. Give me the Washington Commanders and a Jaden Daniels led team.
Yeah. I tell you, man, I watched the press conference today too for the Chargers. That is probably the worst press conference I've ever seen. Like not only fan wise, and like the stadium doesn't people don't show up. The reporters are terrible. Stupid questions, boring. Oh
Well,
my
it is
goodness,
LA.
man. So
It is
everything's
LA.
terrible there. Yeah.
There's that.
Yeah. They didn't even ask anything about the upcoming game. Like it was just the
Hey,
questions they asked were just
hey, Jim
stupid.
Harbaugh, what do
I'm
you
like,
plan on having for lunch tomorrow? Very curious.
yeah. Yeah, like he was just like waiting for somebody to answer a question, and finally seemed like it was like they showed up unprepared. They were just like, nobody's got a question. Well, I'll ask another one. Yeah, like you said, like, do you like peanut butter jelly or fluffernutter? I mean, like it's like, what the fuck does that
Yeah.
have to do with the upcoming game, right? Like nothing. Like what the hell are you doing? It was so
Well
stupid,
well, it
so
kind of
dumb.
fits.
It's funny to see the difference because on the NFL, I'm sorry, quick, they go through all of them, and then you got to like the Seattle one and Mike McDaniel, and it was great questions and great answers. He reacted to the thing way different, and you're just like, okay, you just see the different
Well,
markets right there.
it kinda fits for Jim Harbaugh, because if you ever have heard a Jim Harbaugh presser, there's always some unique phrase that he says or something he makes up right off, at the podium that you scratch your head and you come away from that press conference saying, "What the hell was he just talking about?" And it wasn't football
Mhm.
related. It was just some kinda
Mhm.
wild comment, and
Yeah.
you're just like, "I didn't ask about that. Why is he talking
Oh
about
man, it was very weird and
Jesus
awkward,
and Easter
but
eggs?" It's so weird.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So next we got for the night game, we've got the New England Patriots and the Buffalo Bills. Um, Again, Patriots played good
Yeah.
last week, right? Or they kind of like played like we expected them to kind of turn the ball around and do, and eliminate
Mhm.
mistakes and stuff like that. So I'm hoping that this is the team we're going to see against this Buffalo Bills team and kind of give them a run for their money in this one. I know Josh Allen has a good respect for Drake May. They've worked out in the offseason together. They have the same agency they work for, or, I think, or that works for them.
They got the
So
same
they're
body
good
body
buddies.
type too.
And
So, I mean,
yeah,
it
yeah.
all works.
Yeah. Yep. 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 They got engaged at the same time,
Yeah.
so they're really appreciative of each other. So I think this is going to be another good competitive game, divisional game. So it's going to be tight. I don't think Buffalo's blowing these guys out because again, their defense is a bit lackluster in this one. I know New England invested a lot free agency into this defense, but then drafted offensively. So I'm excited to see where this thing goes. But being Buffalo at home under prime time again, I'm still going to give the edge to Buffalo. But I just want to see a real good game here and see what New England has to
Yeah,
bring
give
to
me
the
the
table.
Buffalo Bills. They circle the wagons at home, and they're gonna, kind of show the Patriots and welcome them to Buffalo in the best way possible, and that's sending them packing them with a big L in their
Send them packing.
suitcase. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah. Something Buffalo hasn't
I
done
like
for a
I like
while,
the
right?
I do like the direction of the
Mhm.
Patriots. I like their offense. I do like the defense. But again, it's not a ironclad, done deal type of team that's ready to compete and win long term just yet. Buffalo Bills are supposed to be that team. They are supposed to continue their
Yeah.
winning ways. Everybody's expecting them to win this game. You can't tell me any otherwise. Give me the Bills.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Here Monday night now, Jacksonville and Kansas City. I think Jacksonville, the way they've been playing, makes this game a little bit more
Hmm.
interesting, right?
For
They're
sure.
fired up even after last week, beating the 49ers, Cohen and or Liam Cohen and Robert Saleh get into it. So and it seems like again that offense is starting to turn around a little bit. That defense is really good. Kansas City, though, again, just lights up, the
For the
Ravens. I
first
guess,
time this year.
again, injuries and stuff like that. Right. So it sets this up as like, all right, and we know we're gonna hear it on the broadcast, right? They're gonna be
Yeah.
like, oh, it's not Collinsworth though. So who is it on Monday night? It's Joe
Mike,
Buck and Troy Aikman, right? So Buck is
yeah.
gonna do his whole thing. He's gonna like, oh, Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs, they're back now, and here they go, and they're this and blah blah blah. And but I think Jacksonville has another plan for him. I think Jacksonville's gonna, pressure them on defense here, make Patrick Mahomes plays. But I think the fact that now that they have Worthy back too as well, healthy, that you saw the difference
Mhm.
instantly when he came back. I think that's a factor here against this team. So after all that being said, I still think the Chiefs pull out a win here, but I think Jacksonville defensively can keep it
I
interesting.
definitely think they can keep it interesting. And the last time that these two teams faced too, it was close, and Jacksonville damn nearly beat them. Like, it was all the way down to
Hmm.
the end. I kind of expect the same thing to happen, to be honest with you. Like, the Chiefs, besides this past week, they haven't done anything to say, "Oh, wow, the Chiefs are definitely back. They scored 40 plus points." You know what I mean? Not consistently. And this is a team that has been struggling to figure out, I don't know if it's identity or trying to get back on track offensively. Like, and I understand they don't have Rashi Rice yet. I get all that,
Hmm.
but they have Andy Reid. They have other weapons that they can throw to. So Malcolm Brown being one of those guys, Juju Smith-Schuster. So I expect the Chiefs to kind of, they're not going to like just run through this Jaguars defense. They're not going to be able to just do anything that they want to. And that's what I think this game is going to be, a close game right down to the wire. Last team with the football is going to kick a game-winning field goal, but I got to stick with the Chiefs. I'm going to be rooting for the Jaguars. You guys all know that, but give
Yeah.
me the Chiefs in this one.
Same thing. I'll be thinking the same exact thing here for that one. So, yeah, let's take the Chiefs in this one. All right, so that's it for the show. We
Bet.
appreciate you guys. That's the lock of the week. That's what Christian says. And he loves the fluffer nutter comment too. We definitely appreciate you guys and appreciate you in the comments too out there. Christian, shout out to you. Shout
Thanks
out
to
to
everybody in the
Billy, everybody
comments,
out
for
there.
sure. Thanks.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And yeah, we definitely appreciate you guys watching and supporting the show.
Yeah, to further support the show, we encourage you guys. If you lasted this long, you're an MVP.
Yeah.
Christian, you're an MVP, man. You stuck through the pretty much the whole show, and we really do appreciate you guys out there. Drop in the comment section down below. We are a live NFL interactive talk show. We want to tune in, you guys to tune in every single week with us. We're here to answer questions. We're here to see what you guys' opinion out there is as well. Listen, tell a friend to tell a friend about us. Spread the word and help us. Head over to YouTube channel for us. Hit the subscribe button. And while you're there, just hit the thumbs up. A couple clicks and you're done. Appreciate you
There you go.
guys, and we'll see you in the next one.
All right. See you guys.